Hello and happy Wednesday. Welcome to another Facebook Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States, and tonight we're going to work with the Gone Fishing bundle, which includes the Gone Fishing stamp set and the coordinating Gone Fishing dies. Let's go ahead and get our laptop up, and then I can see your comments and see who's on. Let's see. Come on. Okay, guess I'll do it the hard way. Come on. Let me see. There we go. Let's see if that will bring it up. Oh. Let's take off that. Hello, Laura. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Wasn't sure I was going to make it tonight for sure, but here I am. It's been a rough 36 hours. But I am feeling good now. So let's go ahead and talk about the Designer Series paper sale, which begins tonight for us here on the West Coast at 11:01 p.m. That's 12:01 a.m. Mountain Time, and that's why we get to start at 11 p.m. Hello, Cher Ellis. Yay! Okay, so the Designer Series paper sale starts tomorrow, technically, June 1st, runs through the 30th, 15% off select Designer Series papers from the annual catalog, and then we have the Hello Irresistible Designer Series paper, which is an online exclusive also on here. So any of these papers from the annual catalog and that online exclusive paper are all 15% off between now and June 30th. So if you haven't gotten the paper that you want from the annual catalog, now is the time to get it. And let's see, I don't think we're using, oh yes we are, we're using the Gone Fishing Designer Series paper tonight on the first project. And then no Designer Series paper on the second project. But that sale will begin. I've put in the heading of this video the links to shop with me and or to shop on Jennifer's workshop. Those links are both there, so you can check those out after the live, because once I post the video, those will be there for you. And let's go ahead and jump in, because we have two 3D projects tonight. I didn't make any cards. I was going to try to get to it, but then I got really ill and that didn't happen. So we're going to go with the projects that we had ready to go. And that's what we're going to use tonight. Okay. So for our first project, we're going to make this little gift card box, much like the box that we made last week. We're going to make this gift card box. It'll hold 6 Dove chocolate promises and the gift card. So I've designed it specifically to fit that gift card. And then the 6 Dove chocolates fit in there perfectly. So of course you could put your gift card on the bottom or the top. I also thought this would make a really nice graduation box. You could either put a gift card in there, or you could put cash or a check. So here we go. Let's get this going. For this project, we're going to need a piece of wild wheat, and this is cut at 5.5 by 8, and I redesigned the measurements so that this would still fit in the 5.5 that we used last week on that project. I shortened up, well, actually what I did was I shortened up these side pieces so they're not quite as long as the ones from last week's project in order to make that work. And then we're going to need, I'm not sure why I left myself that piece. We need a couple of pieces of the boho blue. Scraps of paper. So we've got 2 of those. Now this one that we'll be using, I've actually cut using the dies. And it's this die, it's this rectangle right here. Okay, so you can just put a scrap of paper in there and cut that out if you don't need the whole thing. But we will be using this die actually for the next project. So if you were to make them both, you could just cut this ring and you would have your piece already. Okay, and this other piece is cut at 1 1/4 by 2 1/4. So we need that for our inside sentiment. And then the other, pieces that you'll need. Oh, and let's see, nope, I didn't lose them. Okay, you need a scrap piece of Very Vanilla. All right, and that will be all that we need for this project. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's do our stamping, and then we'll make our box. So for the stamping, we're going to be using Pebbled Path, Misty Moonlight. Hello, Tracy. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. Calypso Coral and Wild Wheat. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our wild wheat. And we're going to take our fishing lure pieces. Well, actually, we're going to start with Pebbled Path, because we can't do the wild wheat till we do the Pebbled Path. So we're going to take the fishing lure outline, and we're going to stamp that in Pebbled Path. I'm also going to grab my bobber outline, and I'm going to stamp that in Pebbled Path. Okay, so I've got those. Now I can move to my wild wheat and my fishing lure inside. And I found with these, what you need to do to line them up is make sure that you can see the outline at the bottom of the item right in the window. Okay, and then it will fit in there perfectly. Okay, so we've got our fishing lure, and now we need our bobber. And we're going to do our bobber in Calypso Coral. Okay. So I'll just get the bottom edge of that bobber in my Calypso Coral. And then we'll need the dies. So we've got our bobber die. And we've got our fishing lure here. Okay, and we're going to run that through our die cutting machine. And we'll get these pieces right here. Okay. So let's go ahead and set these aside. Let's grab our scoring tool. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go ahead and finish our stamping. And for that, we need the Misty Moonlight. So we're going to take our 2 pieces of boho blue. And for the first piece, it's the rounded rectangle that we took out of the die. And I'm taking the For You, and this comes from Layering Leaves. Okay? The stamp set didn't have a sentiment that I wanted to put on the front. So I stole from another stamp set, which is always allowable. Okay, so we're just going to stamp the For You in Misty Moonlight. And then we're going to take for the inside, Good Things Come to Those Who Wait. Okay. Now you could just as easily make this a Father's Day gift card holder like I did the first one. But I didn't need 2, so we're not making this one that way. And I'm just going to center that down. And there we go. So now all of our stamping is done. And we can set all of our stamp pads aside, set our pieces aside, and we can begin making our box. So we'll bring out the Simply Scored tool. All right. And let's bring this down to where you can see the numbers. Okay, there we go. All right. So on the 8-inch side, we're going to score this at 2 1/4 and 2 7/8. So I actually had to shorten the height of this box to make it fit as well. So 2 1/4 and 2 7/8. And then I'm going to flip that, rotate it 180 degrees, and I'm going to do 2 1/4 and 2 7/8 again. Okay, then we're going to go to the 5 1/2-inch side, and we're going to score this at 4 1/2 and 5 1/8. Okay, and we'll do that again after we rotate 180, 4 1/2 and 5 1/8. All right, and then we'll set that aside because we're going to need it for the next project. And then we're going to burnish and fold on all of our score lines. It's always very important on a 3D project to burnish those score lines so that everything folds neat and tidy and stays that way when you're trying to put your boxes together. So we'll burnish all those, and then this box will get trimmed like we did last week. And here is our template. Okay, so I'm going to take, and I'm going to cut up. I'm going to do just like I did last week. On the right side, I'm going to cut to the left of the 2 score lines, and on the left side, I'm going to cut to the right of the 2 score lines. So left of that score line, left of the second score line, and then right of these 2 score lines. And then I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing again to the left of the score lines on the first 2, to the right of the score lines on the second 2. And that cuts out those score lines where we don't want them. Okay, and then here I'm going to bring in a bigger pair of scissors. And I need to remove these tabs. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these on the second score line from the top. And I'm going to fold these out of the way. And then I'm going to cut this again on that second score line because I want to cut that top off. And then I'll have these pieces left, and I'm going to repeat that over on this side. Cut and cut right on that score line, cutting the whole score line away. You'll have a nicer finish to your box. Okay, and then I'm going to keep these long tabs folded out of the way. And I'm going to cut off the first score line at the top, the small little rectangle, and leave the squares on all 4 of these tabs. Okay, then we're going to angle cut, 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 and angle cut on that tab. Okay, and now our template looks, or our box looks just like our template. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there for a second in case you want to take a screenshot or you want to come back later and take a screenshot. This will be up on my blog tomorrow. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to go ahead, and I am using Fast Fuse for this. You could use Stampin' Seal Plus, tear and tape, or liquid glue, but you need to have a strong adhesive. For time-saving purposes, I'm using my old Fast Fuse because I like it better, and I still have some, so why not use it up? Okay, so I've got those. And now I'm going to fold that tab down, and I'm going to make this cut corner go to the fold, just like that. And then I'm going to walk my way around, folding in the tab, folding up on that, and meeting with the cut edge to that fold on all 4 sides. Okay, and now our box is complete. And you know what I did not cut was the Designer Series paper. Oh my goodness, I haven't done that. Okay, so we've got this, and now we need our Designer Series paper, which I failed to cut. So let's grab the paper from Let's Go Fishing. And I actually just need the 1 sheet because both patterns that we are using are on this 1 sheet. Okay, so we're going to use this, and I'm going to cut this, and our Designer Series paper needs to be 2 1/8 by 3 3/8. So I'm going to cut this at 2 1/8 along the 12-inch side. Okay, and then I'll cut this at 3 3/8. Okay, and then I'm going to flip this one over 3 3/8. That's halfway between the 1/4 and the 1/2 inch mark. So now we've got our 2 pieces of Designer Series paper. One for the front and one for the inside. Okay, Now, like I did last week, I'm going to take a look at this and see, because it's symmetrical, which one I like better, the way it closes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on this flap with some Stampin' Seal. And I find it easiest to do this. Okay. And then I'm going to put this one on the front. And like I told you last week, it's important that you have your adhesive along this edge. Okay. So there we go. Got that. Now before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and put my Velcro dot, and these are the Velcro dots that I'm using, 3/8 inch thin clear fasteners, come in a package of 56, and you can get those at your local Joann's store, or you can order them on Amazon. I'm sure there are other places that you could get them too. Grabbing my tweezers, because we all know I can't work without my tweezers. Then I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to give that a good press. And I'm going to fold that up. Okay. Now, if you have a decoration that is a little bit larger on the inside, like this one with the Happy Father's Day, you'll want to put your decoration on first and then put your fastener clear side down afterwards. But I've made this one thinner so that it will better fit on the inside. And after you put those down, give them each a extra press. Okay, now we're just going to put this down with Stampin' Seal because we don't want any bulk on the inside. Okay, so we've got that on. Inside's finished. And now we can put our For You on, and we're going to do that with some Stampin' Dimensionals. It's because it's a 3D project, and why not use dimensionals? You don't have to worry about mailing it. And if you are going to mail it, you're going to have to mail it in something that would allow for it anyway. So, let's get these off. Oops. Okay, and then we'll just put this in the middle here. Then we're going to take those two fishing lures that we cut. We're going to get some linen thread. And I have actually taken a 1/8 of an inch. This is a retired Stampin' Up! Hole punch. But you could use a, you could use the poker tool from your Take Your Pick tool to do this. And then I just put a little hole right up in the spot where you would tie on your fishing line. Okay, so I've done that with both of those. So we're going to take a little bit of twine here, or linen thread, and I'm going to put it through the bobber. I'm going to tie that with just a little knot. Okay, and then I'm going to set this on here, and I'm going to estimate how much twine I'm going to need here. And I'm going to say about that much. Okay, so maybe 6 or 7 inches. And now I'm going to go ahead and use a mini Stampin' Dimensional here. And I'm going to put it off to the left on the back. I'm going to put a little bit of Stampin' Seal on the right. I'm going to put my bobber down like so. And then I'm going to tie on my fishing lure, again with just a knot. Okay, and then I'm going to get a glue dot. And take your pick tool, and I'm going to roll that up into a ball. And for this one, we're just going to put some Stampin' Seal in the center here. Put this right over the top like this. Now, if you want your fishing lure to be shiny, like a lure would be, now is the time to go ahead and add some Wink of Stella. Okay. And then we're going to loop and loop again. If it will cooperate here. All right, just like so. And I'm going to put those two loops kind of together like that. And I'm going to get this glue dot. And I'm going to secure those with the glue dot. Okay. And now is the time to add your gift card and your chocolates. And because I have some of each color, I'm going to line them all up in a row of colors. And now you have a nice presentation for a gift card. I hope you like that. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, there it comes back. Come on. All right. There we go. think my internet connection is messing up, and I think I put you guys all crooked. There we go. Oh, good. I'm so glad you guys like that. Okay, so let's move on to our second project. And we'll get this stuff out of the way because we don't need most of it. And this is our second project. So I totally designed this box to fit the die from the set. Okay. So it fits this top die right here. And then it opens on the inside. Okay? So you could actually use this to gift some fishing lures or anything like that. And I actually was going to try and find some Swedish fish that would fit in here, that you could put a packet of Swedish fish in there. But then I got sick and I didn't make it out the door. So, there's several sizes of Swedish fish, and I thought I could find one that would fit, but like I said, I just didn't get out the door. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this box. We're going to use a few more stamp sets for this, or stamp pads for this box. Let's set that aside. We're going to be using Azure Afternoon, Boho Blue, Daffodil Delight, Sweet Sorbet, Lemon Lime Twist with Old Olive, and then some Petal Pink goes with the Sweet Sorbet. Okay? All right, so let's get started on those. I've done quite a bit of the stamping and die cutting ahead of time, but I did want to show you how I used my colors. So let's go ahead and grab some scrap paper here, and we'll get started on the fishing lures. Now you're going to need several in different colors for this, so you'll have to stamp more than once. But let's see what we already have here. Okay, I think I'm good. Nope, I need the bobber cleaned. Okay. So we're going to use, for our bobber, actually I think for my bobber I used Poppy Parade. So that's another color. But you could just use the Sweet Sorbet if you want to, and that will work. Let's see. Maybe I did use Sweet Sorbet. Let's check it out. Actually, again, before we stamp, we need those. We need the pebbled path again, because we need to stamp all of our outlines. And I'm just going to do one of each. But you'll need 2 bobbers. I used, I think, the Sweet Sorbet and Daffodil Delight. And you'll need 3 of the fish, the actual fish lure. Okay, now this we're not going to use pebbled path for. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to cheat. Yes, we are going to use, I wanted to show you how I did this. Okay, so for this, we're going to use the Sweet Sorbet and the Petal Pink. Or maybe I used Calypso Coral. Yep, I did use Calypso Coral, not Petal Pink. I'm wrong. I used Calypso Coral. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to start the outline, and I'm going to use the Sweet Sorbet for the outline, but I'm only going to stamp this much of the fish. I'm going to leave the hook off. Now you could mask this. In fact, let's just do that because that's probably the way you will do it. If you're doing this card, we'll just mask off that hook. Makes life a little easier. Okay. And then we're going to turn around and then I'm going to take the very corner of the pebbled path and I'm just going to ink up the hook part. Now if I get a little bit of the sweet sorbet in that, it won't hurt my pad. So it's best to do it that direction. The sweet sorbet and then the pebble path. And I've got that. Oh, why am I putting this away? I need to do my bobber. Okay, so then we're going to do our bobber. And we're going to put that sweet sorbet on again. And yep, that's what I did use, sweet sorbet. Okay, and then we're going to take Calypso Coral and we're going to put our little fish head in here. Okay, I'm going to bring my head in here and hopefully I don't get it in your way. I'm going to line that up. Okay, so now I've got that. Now for my fishing lure, I used Calypso Coral and the boho blue. Okay. So let's go with Calypso Coral. And we're just going to take that fishing lure again. And line that all up. And there we go. Okay, so those are the 3 that you'll need to stamp, but then you also need those in other colors as well. Okay, so I've got a bobber in Daffodil Delight, and I've got a fish in Azure Afternoon with the boho blue, lemon lime twist with old olive as the background. Let's see, and I still have this. I should have stamped a boho blue lure. That's what I'm missing. Now I've got 2 of the. Okay, well let's go ahead and stamp a boho blue lure because apparently that's the one I didn't cut out. Those out of the way, and we'll do this in the boho blue with the pebbled path, and then I'll actually have to cut it because we don't have one. Okay, so we've got that, got the boho blue. We'll take that fishing lure. Oh no, that's what happens when you leave an ink pad open and it's not the right one. Okay, so we're going to boho blue. Light that up. There we go. All right. And then again, because these are fishing lures and they would be shiny, I'm going to put some Wink of Stella on our fish. Actually, what you should do is do the colored part, or the white, the very vanilla part first. So you're less likely to drag the green or the other color into your other parts, but this is working. So we've got that. This fishing lure needs some Wink of Stella here. And of course our blue one is going to need Wink of Stella. Okay, and we don't put Wink of Stella on the bobber because those typically aren't shiny. Okay, so now we just need to cut our one fishing lure. Let's get the die for that. And we'll grab our mini. And we'll get a piece of Post-it tape. So I don't want that to move. And we'll line that up. Now you could, if you had a bigger piece, you could fit all of these on one pass and then do it a second time, and you would have most of your pieces, except you do need the 3 fish. Okay. All right. So there is our fishing lure. All right, and let's put away our die so I don't lose it. All right. Now, in addition to those pieces, you need a piece of smoky slate. And from the smoky slate, you're going to cut out 2 sets of the hooks. I've actually cut 3, but you're going to cut out 2 sets of hooks. Okay, because you need 3. And out of a piece of silver foil paper, you are going to cut out a set of these little lures. Okay, or weights or whatever they are. All right. So you need 2 of those, but you might as well cut 3, and 3 of the hooks. Okay. Then I've also taken, and out of Very Vanilla, I cut one of these. We're going to see if we're going to use it. I don't know if we are for sure. I've got one that I cut this second piece here that goes on it. Okay. And I've cut that in Lemon Lime Twist and Daffodil Delight. I'm not sure if we're going to use those, but they're there if we need them. Okay. Okay, so we've got most of our pieces. What did I do with the rest of the card? There it is. Now, for the actual box, I've cut 3 of these. Okay, so I've got 3 in Misty Moonlight, and I wanted to stack them so it looks like there's some depth. So you could do this or you could not, either way. Okay, so we've got those. All right, let's put that back. And then you'll need one of those, this large rectangle here in boho blue. We're going to use that. You need a scrap piece, not a scrap piece, you need a specific size piece of Misty Moonlight for the back, and that is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and that will just fit inside the back of this. Okay, and then for the actual box, you need a piece of Misty Moonlight that is 10 3/4 by 7 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead and get all these stamp pads out of the way so that we can have a little bit of room to work here. Okay, so I'm going to start, I'm going to move my decorative pieces out of the way, and I'm going to start by gluing these together. Okay, so I'm going to take my fine tip glue bottle that has Tombow liquid glue in it. I'm going to get my tackle box piece, and I'm not going to glue, well, it doesn't really matter. Yep, we're going to glue this to the top of this. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to glue this. I did it the other way around, but I messed up. You can do it either way. I think the other side is easier to contain the glue because it has a ridge. Okay, so we've got that piece, and then we're going to stick it to this piece and line everything up before we press anything in place, because we really want that to be lined up perfectly. Okay, so now we've got that. And I'm going to press this in. And then I'm going to take this piece. And you can see how this has ridges. That makes it easier to put your glue on. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on here in that little ridge. Okay, so we've got that. Then we're going to just make sure we've got the top piece, the ridges up, and we're going to secure this together so that we have a stack of 3. Okay, so we've got that now. Now we're going to adhere this piece to the back of this one. Okay, and it will just fit inside. So the easiest way to do that is to take your liquid glue, and I don't need my fine tip bottle this time. I'm just going to go around the very outside edge here. And I need to keep it close to the edge because this barely fits. Okay. And then I can take and put this down. I didn't do a very good job that way, did I? Okay, that's not going to work that way. Let's do that, and I guess we're going to do this way, darn it. Apparently this is what I did before. Backside. Then I knew I had it where I needed it. That's the smart thing to do. It doesn't matter that I have glue on the other side because I'm going to glue that down to the top of the box. So we'll just take and put this in here. Okay. Come on up. I'm struggling a little bit here, but it will work. Okay, there we go. then just make sure that nothing sticks out beyond the edge. Okay? So we're good. We don't have glue where we don't want it. And we're good and sturdy stuck. Okay, so let's set this aside and finish our box. And then we can add that top to the box. Okay. So this is going to be a pizza style box. I'm going to bring in the template for you here. It's pretty large. Okay. That's what it's going to look like. Now we're going to take and start with the 10 3/4 inch side. And what did I do? There it is. The 10 3/4 inch side. Let's see if I've got it in frame for you. Okay, there we go. So we're going to score this at 1, 2, 5 5/8, 6 5/8, and 10 1/8. Okay, then I'm going to rotate it and score it at 1 inch on each side on the 7-inch side. And that's all there is to it. Okay, now this end that has the 2 1-inch sections, this is out the front of our box. And this one is going to be the reinforced front, because when I made my sample, which was on cheap cardstock, not good Stampin' Up! Cardstock, the front of the box flopped a little bit. It stood out and I didn't like the way it closed. So I went ahead and did a reinforced front just to ensure that my box was nice like I wanted it. Okay. So the important things to note are this little piece is the tuck flap that goes in the front. So we're going to remove these 2 corners so that we can tuck those flaps in. Okay, so we're going to do that by removing these little rectangles. Okay, on both sides. All right. Then we're going to remove the squares on the other end as well, because this is going to be a reinforced front, so it's going to tuck in as well. So we're going to cut these 2 outer squares completely off. If I can get my scissors where I need them. Okay. And then everything else we're going to cut up on the score lines. Okay? So we're going to cut up, and I always cut to the outside so that I'm on the inside of this flap, but to the outside of the square, the tab. Okay? That gives me a clean front. Okay, so I've got those. I'm going to turn it 180 and repeat that. Cutting on the outside of the score so that I'm cutting off the score on the large rectangle. All right. Now, we need to do a couple things so I don't forget where I'm at. I'm going to round the corners of this short piece here because this is going to be our tuck. And if we don't round the corners, it won't tuck. So whatever corner rounder you have will work. And I'm just going to round those 2 corners. Okay. Now that also means that these flaps are going to fold in. So I'm going to shorten those flaps by just a bit. So I'm going to bring back in my trimmer here. And I'm going to take off 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to leave this at 3/4. I'm just going to slice that off. And then I'm going to turn it round. And again, I'm going to put that at the 3/4 inch mark so that I'm cutting off 1/4. Okay. And now I need to angle cut these so that they will slip into the box easily, because we're putting them to the inside of the box. So we just need to take a thin slice off, not much. Okay, so now that front is repaired. Now the remaining part we need to do is angle cut these 4 tabs. So these 4 glue tabs right here, we're going to angle cut so that when we glue them into the box, they don't hang over the edge and go up higher than the top of our box. Gives us a much nicer, more professional looking box. Okay. Apparently 2 3D projects is going to go a little long tonight. Okay, so we're good. We've got all of those done. Okay, now the last thing that we need to do before we start folding, you know me, I like to find the center with my ruler. This is a 5-inch box, so 2.5 is the center. So on this first, just above this first score line, I'm going to mark this at 2.5 with my scoring tool. And actually, well, I've got the mark here. You probably can't see that, but it went clear through. I'm going to take a 1/2-inch circle punch. And I'm going to try to get that right in the center of that punch. And I'm going to punch through both layers so that I have a little kind of oval here. Okay, now we're ready to start putting our box together. We're going to use some tear and tape. And on this reinforced front flap, right? Oh, you know what else I forgot to do here? It helps if you slightly angle cut these so that they'll fold neat and tidy inside the box. Those 2 front, the 2 sides of the reinforced front. So we're just going to put a little bit of tear and tape here, strip, okay, and then I'm going to put tear and tape on these 4 tabs here. Like this. And by putting the tape in a plus sign, that will ensure that my sides stay nice and secure. And I will be less likely to catch a lip putting something inside of it. Okay. And if you're using tear and tape and having a hard time with the box opening, the key to tear and tape is to burnish it. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my box sides together first. So I'm going to remove all that tear and tape. The wax paper off of it anyway. All right. And then I'm just going to fold into the bottom here. Notice how I'm not folding into the part that has the shorter tabs. I'm going into the longer side. Cut line to score line. Okay. And then I like to burnish again, just by taking my bone folder and running over those pieces. And now I'm going to remove my wax paper from my long tear and tape here. And I'm going to fold that in and give it a good burnish. Okay, so there is the box front now. Okay, nice reinforced front. Get rid of that garbage, and we'll bring back in our top. Okay, and here I'm going to take and put my liquid glue on the top of my box. That ensures that I don't go outside because the top is a tiny bit bigger than the inside. Okay. Now I've designed this so that these two pieces will stick out over the back, and this piece will stick out over the front, so that it looks like the tackle box. You need to make sure though that you don't stick the back too far out, or you won't be able to open the box too far. Okay, which is fine. But there we go. We've got our front on. Now I'll just open that up and give it a good burnish. And there is our box made. Okay. Not too difficult. All right, now all we have is the decorations. So for this one, I'm going to take and I'm going to grab my boho blue ink. And I should have stamped on that. Well, no, I couldn't. I did this before after. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to stamp this. I hope the boho blue isn't too dark for what I want. Okay, so we've got that. And I don't think it'll be too dark on my... I'm going to go ahead and stamp in here. Well, that didn't work very good. Oh, because you should be smarter than the average box, right? Nope, that doesn't work either. I must have done it before I put the lid on. Well, we're not going to do that now, because I should have done that stamping in here before I put the lid on. That's okay. We're punting. Uh-oh. Okay. We'll go ahead and grab the Misty Moonlight ink now. And the Happy Father's Day from the Gone Fishing. And in the Misty Moonlight, I'm going to stamp Happy Father's Day. Okay. Now that truly is all of our stamping done. We're going to pop this up with dimensionals. this is going to go right in here. Set that in there. Try to line it up. Okay, come on. There we go. All right. Now we're going to grab our yellow bobber. I'm going to put the Daffodil Delight bobber in this square. Get a Stampin' Dimensional for my Sweet Sorbet bobber. Pop that up right here. We're going to take our fishing lures. We're going to put our Calypso coral down with Stampin' Seal. Let's put the hooks down. And then I'm going to get another dimensional for my other lure. Turn that the right way. Okay. And let's get our fish. So we've got one fish here. Then we need some glue dots for either your green or your blue fish. And I actually did the double stack method for this. Put one at the tail and one double stack at the head. And then we're going to put this one right up here like so. And then this one, because I have side pieces, I'm just going to put a strip of dimensional here. And we will pop this lure up right there. And then to finish this off, what I should have done was when I cut my little fishing pieces here, I should have put these on adhesive sheet. So that would have been the smart thing to do. But I didn't. So we're going to use the fine tip glue. And I'm just going to put a dot here, here, and here on that. And then I'm going to throw these in that center section. Like so. Okay, so we've got that. And then we're going to add these little silver fishing lures or whatever they are, weights. I'm sure if I asked my husband, he could tell me whether these are lures or weights. But I don't know. Okay. Oh. Apparently that lure didn't want to stay. Okay, so now we've got our box complete, and you have two possibilities for Father's Day or birthday or whatever. For some fisherman or fisherwoman. I know for a fact that my daughter would think that this was totally cool. And so would her best friend. So, there we are. We've got this. And we've got this. And this box, you could put a lot of different things in. You could probably even stuff a tie in there. Anything that's no more than 1 inch deep. And then you've got this one for the gift card and the chocolates. And those are the 2 projects that I have for you this evening. So glad you guys like that. I had a lot of fun creating them. Thank you, Laura, for sitting on the phone with me while I did all my math the other night for the box. Of course, not till 10 o'clock at night, 10:30. Oh, wait a minute. We forgot to put on our gems that we were going to put on this box. Because I wanted them to look like little bauble things. So we're going to take some of the Tinsel Gems 3-pack. I didn't put my rustic metallic dots on those either. Guess we should get that done. Okay, so we're going to do 1 large one up here. 2 small ones down here. Like that. So we've got that finished. Now, what did we do with our rustic metallic dots for this one? It's not complete unless you finish it, right? Okay, so we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. There we go. That looks a little better, doesn't it? Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Now, as a reminder, I won't be here next week. And after I spoke to you last week, I remembered that I also won't be here the following Wednesday because Caitlin has her very last high school concert next week. And the following Wednesday is the final rehearsal for Into the Books dance performance. So I will be at Central High School until probably 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night for rehearsal. Definitely not home in time to do a live. All right. See you, everybody. Good night. And don't forget about the Designer Series paper sale. Also, tomorrow is the Join Special begins for $99. You can join Stampin' Up and get $155 in product with no shipping. And then you'll earn a discount on all your orders after that. And that special starts tomorrow along with the Designer Series paper. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will see you in a couple of weeks. Good night.